After watching this video, you will have zero excuses not to get started with dropshipping. I see so many people who already know what dropshipping is, they understand that the business model works, but they just don't get started. They think that they have to learn everything before they actually start with a store, that they need crazy time investments to actually get started, and so many reasons I see and so many excuses people make that they don't get started, okay? This video is basically gonna be me debunking all the excuses everybody makes. So excuse number one why people don't start with dropshipping is they think they have to learn everything first before they actually start their own store. They think that they have to watch hours and hours of YouTube videos, buy a couple of video courses, do this and that, until they just create their first store, okay? It is so far from reality, you have no idea. That mentality is insane to me, because you want to solve all the problems which are ahead of you by basically learning everything about dropshipping and not making any mistakes in the beginning. It's just not going to be the case. You will do mistakes in the beginning and you have to go step by step. Instead of learning the whole process, just learn the first step and then do it, and then learn next step and then do that as well. Because if you just have like a bird's eye overview over everything, that's fine. But if you want to go into every single detail in every single step, you will be stifled. It will be simply too much for you to handle, because you have no idea how to handle a Facebook blog or the scaling process or the branding, but you don't need to know that before you even get started. You just need to know how to do product research, how to build a store, and how to make the ads, okay? Those three things are the basics and the foundations you need to know to get started. And you know how you learn that? You have to do it. You have to learn by doing. In dropshipping, everything is learning by doing. You don't learn by listening, okay? You just have to make a to-do list. Okay, what do I have to do and what do I have to learn to actually get my first store launched? And it's going to be three things: product research, store creation, and ad creation. Only those three things you need, okay? So the logical thing here would be to just have a bird's eye overview over that first, then get into product research, do the first step and basically understand what a good product is, and immediately test the first product. So you take that first product, you start with the product research, you make a list of all the products you find, you select the very best one, and move to the next step, which is going to be store or ad creation. Then you create, for example, a store, you make everything proper, it doesn't have to be crazy perfect, it just has to be there, and you're going to learn so much through actually doing that, because it's almost impossible to learn how to do store creation without creating a store. And you just need to have that experience. And trust me, your first store is not going to be great, and it doesn't need to be, okay? So you create the first store, and then you create your first ad. It's not going to be that hard. You just look at the competition, you model them, you basically look what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and what's working for them. For example, if you see 5 competitors selling the same product, you pretty quickly are going to identify who's doing the best. Basically, you can check how good they're doing by looking at their ad library, you're looking on AdSpy. You just have to see who is doing great. And then you also see who's not doing good. And then you compare the ads and understand and learn from that, okay? So then you model your ads after your best competitors and start with Facebook ads. And that's going to be the next step. You don't need to know everything before you get started. It's such a big mistake and a time waster to learn everything, because if you want to learn every single detail about product research or store creation, you have to do it. You only will learn all the details properly by doing it, and you will not learn everything. You will not know how to set up the shipping settings on the store, for example, by looking at any video, because you're going to forget that immediately if you don't actually do it. In life, you just learn things by looking at what you have to do and then doing it and implementing it immediately. That's the quickest way how you learn things in general. So the next excuse people make is they're not 100% sure that dropshipping even works. And that one is a little bit more legitimate. So you look at dropshipping, you see those crazy numbers everybody's flashing on YouTube, and you're like, is this even real? Is this possible to actually achieve? Can you really make $100,000 in one single month? I think that's just fake. And I get that. I also thought that when I just started out, I didn't really believe all the things I saw on YouTube, and you shouldn't, because a lot of the things are not even real, okay? However, it is possible, and I can guarantee you that 100,000%. And if you want, you can book a free consultation session with me personally, where I'm literally gonna share my screen, show you the numbers a dropshipping store can make. It's gonna be 6 figures per month, and I'm gonna screen share, show you everything, refresh, show you whatever you want, So you know 100% and have the mental clarity that, okay, dropshipping does work if you do things right. Because you need to have that mindset in place to actually get started. Because if you're unsure about the whole dropshipping model, then it's going to make it very tough for you to believe and to actually start with the whole thing. Because you're always going to have the doubt of dropshipping as a whole. If something doesn't work for you, you're going to think, okay, probably it's not my mistake or not the strategy's mistake or the bad product or whatever it was. It's dropshipping. Dropshipping does not work, and then you quit, okay? So you need to be 100% sure that dropshipping works when you start, because if you won't, you will quit. I guarantee that. So again, I know that it works for me, it works for my students, it simply works. So you can actually see the proof by clicking the link below, signing up for a free consultation session with me personally, and we're gonna find out if the whole thing is a good fit for us, and there I can literally show you proof that everything works. The next excuse people have is that they don't have enough money. And that can be true, but in a lot of the cases it's just not, okay? If you don't have a couple of $1,000s, you should not properly start with dropshipping. It's just reality. A lot of people tell you you can start with like low budget strategies. You can get started with doing like free Instagram shoutouts or doing some kind of TikTok strategies where you try to go viral. That is going to be so much work, and you basically do 10 times the work to kind of compensate that you don't have money. Also, there's no room for mistake at all, and you cannot really do mistakes which will cost you money. So I would not recommend that as a beginner, because as a beginner you're going to do a lot of mistakes, and if you have no budget, you're going to burn through your money pretty quickly if you do things wrong. Also, I think that those low budget strategies are basically going to eat up your time, and I feel like just going to a regular job for a couple of months and making some money to actually get started with dropshipping is going to be a better investment. You're going to make more money in the same time period. Maybe you're not going to learn as much, but I guarantee you, you're going to learn so much more with actually doing dropshipping with a decent budget, okay? So at least have a couple of $1,000s to actually get started. If you really want to, you can get started with those low budget strategies. It's going to be tedious, it's going to be pretty annoying, and it's going to take a lot of time. If you want to learn, do it if you want to, but I would not recommend it, okay? However, a lot of people just don't have the priority. A lot of people have that budget, they have a couple of $1,000s, but they're not willing to invest it, and they think that it's going to be a loss. They think if they invest a couple of $1,000s, they're going to lose those couple of $1,000s, and that's not the case. You invest that money to make more later on, and you have to see that as an investment and not as an expense. It doesn't matter what you spend those thousands of dollars on. If it's ads, if it's learning, if it's coaching, if it's like whatever it is an investment. No matter what you do, if you properly spend the money in the right places, then it will be investment. It can be a good one or a bad one. It's not an expense, it's an investment. And the last excuse I want to talk about is that people say they don't have enough time to start with dropshipping. Most people, 95% of people who tell me that are not honest to themselves. Either they think that they need more time than they actually need, or they just don't have their priorities in place. Not having enough time is always a question of the priorities. If you have time to go to the gym, if you have time to watch TV, if you have time to meet friends, you also would probably have time to do dropshipping. You will probably need to compensate a lot of your free time activities with dropshipping. However, it's a question of priorities. And if you really want to make this work, it will be worth it for you, okay? First of all, you don't need crazy amounts of time to actually get started. You don't need 8 hours per day to really do this properly, okay? A couple of hours per day are more than enough if you do it consistently and if you do the right things in those couple of hours. And also, a lot of people get stuck in this routine of doing one thing and they cannot see an exit. I have a really crazy story when I was talking to one of my VAs a couple of years ago. So a couple of years ago, I had one VA and he was constantly doing email support for me, and I asked him at some point, what is your long-term goal here? What do you want to do with your life? And he was already doing dropshipping VA stuff for a while. For a couple of years, he was only being a dropshipping virtual assistant, okay? So he knew all the ins and outs of dropshipping. He was in the game basically for years. I asked him, do you actually want to do dropshipping yourself, or you don't want to do that? And he said, yeah, I really would like to do that. However, I don't have enough time. I have too many emails that I have to answer for you and for all the other guys I'm working with. And for me, that was crazy. Obviously, if you would have told me, no, I I need the security, I want to have a stable job, that's completely justified. And if you want to do that, that's great. And being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, and I 100% respect that if you just want a regular job. However, if you want to do dropshipping and just think that you cannot do it because you have too many emails to answer, that's ridiculous. You can make the time and work a little bit less on the email support and actually do dropshipping. And because he was so stuck in his routine, it was impossible to even think about that, okay? So that's really important, and you have to kind of recap what you do with your life and really understand what the priorities are. And if you set those priorities straight, then you can finally understand if this is for you or if it's not. I hope you enjoyed this video and you don't have any excuses anymore to actually not get started. So start with dropshipping as soon as possible. Trust me, the earlier you start, the better it's going to be. Dropshipping is going to be just getting harder and harder and harder to start with. Right now, it's much harder to start than it was 2020, 2019, or 2018, okay? It's just harder. However, it's going to be way harder in 2022, in 2023. Whenever you want to start in the future, it's going to be harder than now. Right now, it's still very doable as a beginner to get started and make a full-time income with dropshipping, but that's not going to be the case forever, okay? If you are actually interested in getting started and having a mentor, then sign up for a free consultation session with me personally, where we're going to find out if we're actually a good fit to work together long-term. And also, I'm going to answer all the questions you have, and it's going to be a one-on-one consultation session with me personally, not anybody of my team. It's actually going to be with me. So sign up for that in the first link on the description, and either talk to you then or see you in the next video. Take care.